जय राधा माधव कुंजा बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदनंदना व्रज जनरंजना यशोदनंदना व्रज जनरंजना यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंजा बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंजा बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदनंदना व्रज जनरंजना यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंजा बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदनंदना व्रज जनरंजना यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंजा बिहारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे जय राधा श्याम सुंदर राधा श्याम सुंदर राधे जय राधा श्याम सुंदर राधा श्याम सुंदर राधे जय कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेवा जय सुभद्रा जय गौरानिता जय गौरानिता जय गौरानिता जय गौरानिता नित्य गौर हरि बोल नित्य गौर हरि बोल जय सचिनंदन गौर हरे जय सचिनंदन गौर हरे गौरा गौर हरि गौरा गौर हरि नित्य गौर हरि बोल नित्य गौर हरि बोल निताय गौरांगो 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 जय गौर हरि गौरा गौर हरि गौरा गौर हरि निताय गौर हरि बोल जय गौर हरि बोल माहेश्वर चंद्रा गौर हरि नदिया विहारी गौर हरि पतित पावन गौर हरि गौरा गौरा गौर हरि गौरा गौरा गौर हरि निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल जय प्रभु पदा जय प्रभु पदा जय प्रभु पदा जय प्रभु पदा जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल एवं विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राज का आचार्य अष्टोत्तर सतस्य श्रीमती डिवाइन गेस्ट श्रीमद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी शुभपाद की जाय एवं विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राज का आचार्य अष्टोत्तर सतस्य श्रीमद डिवाइन गेस्ट श्री भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर गोस्वामी प्रभुपाद की जाय अनंत कोटि वैष्णवंद की जय नमाचार्य ललिदास ठाकुर की जय प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्री वासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय ब्रजभूमि श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की जय श्री क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय गंगमय यमुनामाई की जय भक्ति देवी तुलसी महारानी की जय समवेत भक्त वृंद की जय हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल All glories to assembled devotees Hare Krishna. All glories to assembled devotees Hare Krishna. All glories to assembled devotees Hare Krishna. All glories, all glories, all glories, all glories. Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. उपास की जय नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपिष्टाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी नाम नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचार निर्विशेष शून्यवाद पंचांश देस्तार Okay. I'm reading from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, contents of Gita summarized, verse number 44. I shared. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam ततो जयमुदीरयेत् नष्टाप्रयेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी हरि ओम तत्तत् 2.44 chapter 2 contents of Gita verse number 44 भोगैश्वर्य प्रसक्तानां तया अपहृत चेतसाम् व्यवसायात्मिका बुद्धि समाधो न विधीयते भोगैश्वर्य प्रसक्तानां तया अपहृत चेतसाम् व्यवसायात्मिका बुद्धि समाधो न विधीयते भोगैश्वर्य प्रसक्तानां तया अपहृत चेतसाम् व्यवसायात्मिका बुद्धि समाधो न विधीयते Word to word translation Bhoga to the material enjoyment, Aishwarya and opulence, Prasaktanam for those who are attached, Taya by such things, Apahrata Chetasam bewildered in mind, Vyavasayatmika fixed in determination, Buddhi devotion service to the Lord, Samadho in the controlled mind, none ever, Vidiyate does take place. Translation by Divine Grace, A.C. Bhakti Vedanta, Shubhopad Vijay. In the minds of those who are too attached to sense enjoyment and material opulence and who are bewildered by such things, the resolute determination for devotion service to the Supreme Lord does not take place. Please repeat. In the minds of those who are too attached to sense enjoyment and material opulence, and who are bewildered by such things, the resolute determination for devotion service to the Supreme Lord does not take place. We'll try to understand this verse. This is also an important verse. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanasaragaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Mokam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langete Girim Yat Krupa Tamaham Mande Sri Gurum Denataranam Paramanandamatam Sri Chaitanyeswara Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Krupa Sindhu Bhaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namo Vishnu Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Shri Rupa Goswami Prabhupada ki jai Prabhupada ki jai Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Thank you for joining. So, here in this verse, it has been described because Arjuna has surrendered to Supreme Lord Sri Krishna in this chapter beginning 2.7. Pre-qualification already met, he could understand his defects, and then he surrendered after giving his various reasons for not fighting, doubts, reasons, has given 5 reasons. I don't want to fight because no compassion for my own family members. And then I don't want to fight because there is no enjoyment. If I am going to kill whom, I am going to share the opulence, because if I kill all my family members, then where is the enjoyment? Then destruction of dynasty, simple activity, destruction of dynasty, and the community projects will stop, unwanted population will increase, and then finally inaction. Then he could understand that he cannot go any further. He couldn't decide whether to renounce and go to forest or to fight, or what he should do, what is the best course of action as well to get eternal benefit. Then he surrendered to Supreme Lord Sri Krishna in 2.7, understanding his own defects, his own problems. Then Krishna started giving instruction one by one, explaining. We are now in this section, today's verse, from starting number 41. So from 2.11, Krishna started giving instruction to all the way, that is, he started with explaining about the Sankhya Yoga, analytical details of the body and the soul. Krishna is explaining Sankhya Yoga. And then further Krishna explained Sankhya Yoga or Jnana Yoga. And then Krishna explained also Buddhi Yoga or Swadharma or Karma Yoga in 2.30 to 39 verse. And then 2.40 onwards he is explaining about Nishkama Karma Yoga. So the karma means engaging in work or activities as per the scriptural injunctions. So that is karma. That means still it has reactions. So we have to be very careful to understand this. We are discussing 2.44. Bhogaiswara prasaktanam taya aparata chetasam vyavasayatmika buddhir samadhav na vidiyate. Krishna is explaining to Arjuna, because this is in the section of Nishkama Karma Yoga, Bhagavad Arpita Nishkama Karma Yoga. Because generally when we say karma means as per the scriptural injunctions, it also considers fruitive activities, because people want to engage in the 4 things: Dharma, Artha, Kama and Moksha. Dharma, religiosity, religious principles, and then Artha, to get wealth, then economic development, Kama, to get some enjoyment for their own, and then ultimately, finally, liberation from this material world. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. But here Lord Krishna teaches in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, and Lord Krishna appears as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu 500 years ago. He is also teaching the higher than even these 4 These are called Chaturveda Purushartha. But the highest principle is fifth one. It's called Panchama Purushartha, Krishna Prema, attaining Krishna Prema, understanding our identity as servant of Krishna, and then attaining to the highest level, attaining the Krishna Prema, loving exchanges with the Supreme Lord, and then the transfer of that loving exchange with all other living entities. That is the highest perfection. That's what Krishna is speaking, but he is going one by one, step by step, gradually is presenting. So, Karma Yoga, when he explaining, so it includes yoga means uniting or connecting with the Lord, but it has some mixture. It's not pure, so because it's not fully enlightened with the process of bhakti. It's not undeviated, uninterrupted bhakti. So then gradually Krishna is presenting. That means performing duty. That's what Krishna is telling Arjuna. You must perform duty as a Kshatriya. Then you don't get sinful activity. If you don't perform, you will get sinful activity. Actually, you will enjoy. If you engage in your duty as a Kshatriya, then you will attain heavenly planets. Even if you are killed, you will go to heavenly planets. So either way, you are not going to lose. If you don't fight, if you don't do your duty, then you are going to actually go to hell for not doing duty. So and everybody will think that you run away from your duty, and so it will be worse than death. So either way, it's a big problem. So rather, whatever reasons based on the Niti Shastra, morality, seemingly those are not valid reasons, strong reasons. So in this way, he removed those doubts already. Then Krishna is explaining Krishna because Arjuna has asked clearly in 2.7, Yes Sreyasyan Bruhitanme Sishyasteham Sadimam Prapanam. Permanent benefit. Tell me, give me, instruct me by which I can attain permanent benefit. Not today. I may win the war and I may enjoy, but he doesn't want just a temporary benefit for a few years. He wants a permanent benefit. The way he can act by which he can get permanent benefit, eternal benefit. So that's why Krishna, otherwise he could have stopped at karma, he just performed duty, he could have induced and then he could have stopped. But Krishna is enlightening to the highest level because he asked Arjuna specifically for the eternal benefit. So that's why Krishna is bringing here Nishkama Karma Yoga Bhagavad Arpita. General Nishkama Karma means without desiring, without expecting something in return. That is Nishkama Karma. But that can be done, many people may do, some people may do in this world without expecting anything in return. They may do some charity work, they may feed poor people, they may give education to some poor people. These things could be done, or opening dharmashala or dharmasatra like that, but still that is not actually attaining the highest perfection. That is better than nothing. So, but here Krishna is talking about Nishkama Karma Yoga, Bhagavad Arpita Nishkama Karma Yoga. With Krishna is involved. That means we are not expecting results, we are offering results to Krishna. So that's when it becomes Bhagavad Arpita Nishkama Karma Yoga. So in order for that to happen, it's not easy. Not everybody can do this. So that's why Krishna is mentioning a couple of things here. Unless first we must have a focus, fixed determination, then only they can do. Because here Krishna is Arjuna is a Kshatriya, he is telling, so because generally as a Kshatriya he has so much opulence, so much wealth, so many, they may have multiple wives, and so much he has to deal with. So for them not to attach with the things, it's very difficult task. So that's why Krishna is laying the ground. Why and what circumstances this thing, living entity or a person can come to the fixed determination, under what circumstances generally it is not generally possible. So those are the general rules, general characteristics Krishna is explaining in the first few verses before he is going in detail about the Nishkama Karma Yoga. 2.46 actually talks about Nishkama, but in the beginning, before that, Krishna is explaining actually. So 2.40, the previous two verses where we were discussing, Krishna is explaining about one who is Veda Vadarata Partha Ya Imam Pushpitam Vacham Pravadanta Avipaschita, one who is less intelligent, one who is enamored by the beauty, a flowery language of the Vedas, because in Vedas so many details are given If you want to become beautiful, then you worship this demigod. If you want to get a good wife, you worship this demigoddess. So like this, so many 3.33 million demigods are there. So you can worship different demigod to get different benefit. That's all coming under karma kanda or fruitive work. So that's why that verse is. So for them, because they are attached to these things in results, for them this is not possible. Nishkama karma yoga is not possible. If you are Arjuna, if you are thinking in that way, because you are also thinking that you are attached to the body. So if you want eternal benefit, then you have to give up these tendencies. So he's telling indirectly, it is telling all of us. So we must be understanding the gross effects, gross attachments to this body. That means as soon as the child is born, he is attached. As soon as generally he is attached, he will put everything, whatever you give him, he will put in his mouth. He will be attached. He doesn't want to share even with anybody, neither with his mother nor with his siblings, brothers, sisters also. Gradually, then he will start sharing with his own family members. But he will not share. If anybody else, other kids come and play with him, they will take his play things, toys, or anything, then he will be very much angry or upset. So this is the nature of the living entity. So that it's not so easy to be not attached. So that's why there is attachment to the gross body, what we see external body, and then there is attachment to the subtle body, which means mind, intelligence, false ego. Even within this gross body, attachment to the body is there, and also the senses, especially the jnanendriyas, the eyes, the ears, the tongue, the touch, and then nose, smell, and then karmendriyas, the hands, legs. More than karmendriyas, jnanendriyas is the biggest problem, because jnanendriyas is the one, because knowledge is not there, proper transcendental knowledge is not there. So that's why covered, these jnanendriyas are fully covered with unwanted things. So for many lifetimes, because of that, we are not able to understand what is reality, what is not reality. We look at example of great example of King Chitraketu, and also we look at an example because that could be at different levels. This attachment is there at different levels, all the way from those who are not devotees, those who are following the karma kanda are attached to the fruitive results. For them also this applies. Then those who are attached to the mystic perfect, those yogis, Ashtanga yogi, Hatha yogi, they are also attached to certain things. They may renounce this material world. They want to be attached. They will be meditating on the super soul, Paramatma. But they are also attached. They want some perfections, mystic perfections. They want siddhis. They want to attain some things, higher planets, or get some mystic siddhis. That is also still material. So even the jnanis, those who are trying to merge into Brahmana, they are also looking for certain benefits. So that's why there is attachment. Even that is also there. So that's why it is not easy. Even as devotees also, as Brahmanas, as devotees, as Vaishnavas, there is still attachment. All the way from Madhav Shraddha, beginning stage, before becoming a devotee, there is attachment. That is more stronger attachment. But when we start as a devotee also, there is a attachment. As we go up each and every layer, every level, there are 9 steps of bhakti. Adav Shraddha, Sadhakanam, Ayam Premno, Pradur Bhavet Krama. There is step by step progress in bhakti, starting with faith, Adav Shraddha, Tata Sadhu, then associating with the second step. Then Bhajana Kriya, that means surrendering to a spiritual master, third step. Fourth step is Anartha Nivurti. Before coming to Bhakti, also there is a layer of Anartha Nivurti. Otherwise, nobody can come to Krishna. Nobody can come to Lord Vishnu, Lord Krishna. It is not possible. First layer of sinful activities has to be removed. Then only they can come. So that's why Krishna is already mentioning. Don't think that this process everybody is going to take up. Minute you are going to discuss everybody. No, it is not going to be possible. Esham antagatam papam jananam punyakarma. 7th chapter, Krishna is clearly telling. So it's not going to happen. Yes, if you want to give something, offer some bumper offer, or invite something, we are going to hold some musical program, dance program, or something, people will assemble. But for this process, it is not going to happen. Bahuram janmanamante gnanavan mam prapadyate vasudev sarvam samahatma sudurlava. Krishna himself is telling. So it is very rare to find somebody who is going to come to me. Out of that, again, it is very rare to find who really wants me. They may come to me, but they may not really want me. So even within that, who is again coming to perfection is again rare. So layers and layers of perfection is there. Anyway, Anartha Nivurti, after initiation, there is a real Anartha Nivurti inside the heart, cleansing will begin. So that is the fourth step, Anartha Nivurti. Each and every step there is attachment, certain attachment. And then the fifth stage is the Nishta, fixed up, firm faith, that is a Vyavasayatmaka Buddhi, but different levels. That Nishta is the first level. And then there is Ruchi, taste for the holy name, taste for everything in serving the Lord and associating with everything. That is the Ruchi. Then Asakti, then that is complete attachment. Then Bhava, ecstatic symptoms. And then our Swarupa will be revealed. Asakti and Bhava stage, our original Swarupa. What is our spiritual form? How do we look? What is our rasa with the Supreme Lord? What rasa? Are we in the Shanta rasa, neutrality, or Dasya rasa, or some master and servant, or Sakya rasa, friendship, or Vatsalya rasa, parent child, or Madhuri rasa, conjugal rasa, love. So these the primary rasa, and then there are 7 secondary rasa, Asya, Bhivasa, Bhayanaka, those are also there. So those will be revealed. Our original form, whether we are even in the Vaikuntha, in the spiritual world, there every living entity, what we see in material world, everything is there. But everything is fully conscious, not like here. So that's why there is Santaras there also. The trees, the flute, the cows, all of them are in Santaras. So they are also there. But there the cows, here the cows is different. The consciousness is completely different. There everything is fully vibrant, fully conscious. They can give anything and anything. So that's how it is in the spiritual world. In material world, it's completely different. Anyway, so that this is the these are the stages. But each and every stage there is a level of attachment. So that's why even at the Bhava stage also there could be attachment. Like Bharat Maharaj was attached to a deer. He is already in Bhava stage, ecstatic symptom. But somehow or the other, mother deer left. Everybody left. Only small child deer was left alone. So he got attached somehow or other by seeing and by seeing the beauty of the small deer, and then he was so much attached, and then he passed away like that in that condition. Then he became a deer, but he could remember because of his extraordinary position as a Bhava stage devotee. He could remember his position, his devotions, and everything in the next life. Then the second life, then he became a Brahmana. Then the third life, he went back to Godhead. So that is Jada Bharata, and then he went back to Godhead. So that's why the attachment is there in each and every, unless we have to be very careful. So that's why Krishna is speaking. When Krishna is speaking in Bhagavad Gita, there is a degrees of understanding is there. The 2.44 what we are discussing today could be taken at any level. For children, those who are studying, they need to they also have attachment. They want to play, they want to watch TV, they want to watch computer. So there should be a regulation on each and everything. How will we regulate? Then they should be given higher things. They should be given higher things which they can be engaged. Nobody can be free from desires. Nobody can be doing just sitting idle without any activity. You cannot tell them don't watch TV. Then what they have to do? They have to be engaged actively in something else. Then they can take up. So this attachment in this way for everything. The politicians, they have attachment to so many things. So in this way, so everybody has attachment, wife and husband, you name it. So everyone has attachment. The gross attachment, the subtle attachments are there. So how do you remember to look at this King Chitraketu as a king? What kind of attachment he got? And by understanding that, we'll be able to know and how he perfected in his life. Chitraketu. So next life is King Vratrasura, demon Vratrasura, but a great devotee. In his previous life is the King Chitraketu. We'll discuss that. But also we'll take one more example of from disciples of Ramanujacharya, conversation between Ramanujacharya and one of his great disciple and others. What kind of attachment they had and how Ramanujacharya, the spiritual master, understanding the position, understanding the what's going on in his disciples, how he broke that attachment, how he corrected them. So that also we'll discuss because it is very important to know. because as devotees also many times we get attached. Sometimes we get attached to just the cloth. Even as sannyasi also sometimes they are attached to the kaupin, they are attached to the stick, they are attached to their water bottle. So this attachment goes a long way in each and every ashram. Nobody is barred from this attachment. So that's why Krishna, when he is speaking, is not speaking specifically to Arjuna, he is speaking to each and every category, varna and ashrama, each and every living entity at each and every level. So you can apply at every level. So that's why this attachment. So Krishna is speaking here. Bhoga means material enjoyment. Aishwarya means opulence. And why Bhoga Aishwarya Prasaktanam. Asakti means attachment, but that could be spiritual attachment. But here that's certain Prakrushta Rupena Asakti. That means complete with his senses, especially the senses. All his senses are attached to things. Then Prabhupada gives an example of Ishvara Sarvabhutanam Hruddesha Arjuna Tishtati Brahmayati Sarvabhutan Yantra Rudani Maya. Just like this body is like a machine. This body is like a machine. In reality, yes, because it is we are taking this body in the previous life, this life, next life. Where this body, we are just sitting in this body, and we are doing different activities. A field, actually, this body is like a field, like a agriculture field. We are sowing the seeds and plants are coming up. Same way, this body is the one whose soul is sitting within the body, and we are eating the actually through the different limbs. Hand is putting the food in the mouth, and then the soul is getting nourished through this body. Is like a medium. The soul is living within this body because we want to enjoy separately from the Lord. Now the comparison is given like the machine, like a motor car. If somebody wants to drive a motor car, he needs to be expert. He needs to be trained properly. If he is not trained properly, what will happen? Then there will be a disaster, there will be accident. Same way, if you are not trained properly how to use this body, the gross body, the subtle body, the mind intelligence also is called subtle body. The gross body means the gross body is made up of earth, water, fire, air, ether, these five panchabhutas it is called. And also these senses are there within subtle. So the some of them we can see the ears, but the subtle sense objects we cannot see. The ears are the hearing. The ears sense object is hearing. So same when we are driving, our tongue can drag us into something. As soon as I see something, then we are caught up with something else. When the nose, the smell, the sense of touch, we want to watch cell phone, or we want to text, or we want to look at different things while driving, and we get caught up, then we'll get attracted and deviated, and then get into a problem. So that is the kind of attachment. Same thing is happening here. When the living entity is not trained properly, but is using his opulence, is using his wealth, his dravya means various resources. It could be anything. His home, his car, his cell phone, his TV, his various paraphernalia in his home. Everything can be used either for his own personal enjoyment or for Krishna. Krishna is nowhere saying in Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam, he is not saying renounce. Rather, he is telling, understand that everything is coming from me and use it wisely. Use it in a regulated fashion. That's all Krishna is telling. So that's why this is very important aspect. Krishna has mentioned Nishkama Karma Yoga, Bhagavad Arpita Nishkama Karma Yoga. Then we will not be attached results. As a teller in a bank is counting his money, but actually whose money is that? People are depositing, people are also taking money back, debiting and crediting. For a teller, it doesn't matter. He's just taking. Okay, somebody wants money to be taken out, he will give, and if he wants deposit, he will deposit. So he shouldn't be worried what is going to happen, what will be my balance, because the money, everything belongs to the branch manager, actually the government or private sector, whoever is the owner. He is just working. Same way we are also like a tenant, we are the occupier. Actually, we are like we might be in a house, we might have big like those who are in the category of Buddhist philosophy. They think that this material body is made up of bag of chemicals. So then they think that then nirvana, their philosophy is called nirvana, means and everything is end. that will make it happy. So give up this body, then become zero, nirvana, then everything will be happy. But how is that? Like we are like we have a big home and we have tenants, and sometimes there will be a problem with the tenant, sometimes there's a problem with the tax. They are not paying rent properly, they are not paying the electricity bill and all those bills they are supposed to pay along with the rent. And sometimes there's a big problem, lawsuit and civil lawsuit and whatnot. Then does that mean that we the whole break down the whole building, whole house because there are problems? No, we have to fix the problem. It's not that we whole collapse the whole building. So that is that kind of philosophy is not good. So that's why we have to understand this philosophy through what Krishna is telling. So it is not made of a bag of chemicals. So that's why Buddhist philosophy is not going to work. It has created at a certain point. Lord Buddha has come to give just because at that specific time that is needed. So otherwise they are killing left and right. So that's why Lord Buddha has come to bewilder them. So remove them, move them away from killing each other. Sammohaya surat dvisham. That's why he has come at specific purpose. But that does not mean to take up the process, use that process in each and every yuga. So that is anyway, that is there. So that's why this attachment, like this machine must be used properly. Like one who is in a feverish condition, one who is in a comatose condition, delirium condition, the patient goes to the doctor, then doctor has to treat. Doctor prescribes and gives treatment. He has to follow, and then he comes to normal condition. But in delirium, in that condition, he might be speaking something. He might be not in a normal state. He doesn't behave in a normal state. Then only by doctor's prescription, then he can be treated and he can be brought back into the normal condition. So same way, so when this body is attached to so many things, when this body is not trained up properly in this Krishna conscious way, in this transcendental knowledge, then automatically we will be attached. That's why it is mentioned taya apahrata chetasam. When we are bewildered in the mind is bewildered. What is the mind's job? Is accepting and rejecting, thinking, feeling, willing. So automatically mind cannot be idle. So mind is always thinking, whether we fill up with material things or whether we fill up with the spiritual things about Krishna. So that's why Upanishad begins with Krishna is telling everything coming from me. So living entities came from me, this material world came from me, everything came from me. But that doesn't mean that I am zero now. Still I am as it is. 100 minus 100 is 100. 2 minus 2 is 2. In spiritual world. In material world, 2 minus 2 is 0. 2 plus 2 is 4. In spiritual world, it is not like that. So Krishna is giving everything, but Krishna is still full. So that is the translation. It is very difficult to understand for us. So that's why we have to understand. So that everything is coming from the Supreme Lord. So nothing is depleting. In that, then we understanding that fact, then utilizing the resources, everything, whatever we have, and using it in Krishna's service gradually. Then automatically this attachment will be transferred. So that's why Vyavasayatmika Buddhi means it's confidential knowledge, understanding, and engaging in transcendental loving service to the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, Lord Vishnu. Bhagavad Archata Rupaika Visuddha Chetasa Nishkama Karmavir Visuddha Chetasa. That's what Vyavasayatmaka Buddhi Baladev Vidyabhushan is speaking, one of our Acharya. So Bhagavad Arpita Archana Nishkama Karmavir Visuddha Chetasa. Suddha means purified. Visuddha means specially, fully purified consciousness we must engage in. That's why to come out of this Bhoga and Aishwarya, the opulence, general attachment we have, so it is very important to engage in worshipping the deity. Just like we are attached to the kids, we are attached to their paraphernalia, we are attached to their language, what they speak, what they do, everything, especially when they are small. So same way, when we do the same thing, worshipping the Lord in a personal way, when we touch the Lord, when we feed the Lord, when we offer Lord in the same way, just like my child, how he is hungry, how he is playing with me. So all those in the same way, if we have the same sentiment, same feelings, if we approach the Lord in that way, then Lord also reciprocates. So that way, naturally, our attachment will be transferred to the Lord. So that's why It's very much clearly, specifically given, prescription is given, even in this case of example of King Chitraketu. So let's understand from King Chitraketu. So King Chitraketu had almost so many millions of wives. He's a great king. So he had millions of wives, and but he didn't have a son. So he was happy, so much opulence, so much wealth, everything is going on nicely. His kingdom, his population, people, everything is going nicely. But he was morose, he was lamenting, he was not happy because he didn't had son, even though he had everything else is going on nicely. So one day, then sage Angira, Brahma's son, Angira has come to his kingdom. Then he visited the king's palace. Then he is asking generally, how is everything? How is it in your kingdom? Is everything all right? But then he saw his mind is not in a peaceful state, is in a disturbed condition. Then he could understand when he asked, it doesn't seem like you are in a peaceful, stable mind. Something is bothering you. Looks like. Then please tell me. Yes. Then king tells him that what is happening. He didn't have a son. Then King Chitraketu asked sage Angira to give a benediction, to tell what will be the, how to come out of this condition, how to get a son. Then Angira gave blessings. He also told at the time of, you will get a son, he will be the cause of jubilation, he will also be the cause of lamentation. Both the things. And he told to perform certain sacrifice, and then whatever the fruit comes, give it to your wife, Kruta duty, and then you'll get a son. Immediately left. Before even speaking, king speaking anything, immediately left because he knows what's going to happen, Angira. So immediately left. Then in a matter of time, Krutadyuti had a child. But out of so many wives, only one wife had a child. So much opulence is there. So then he was so much, became so much attached to his son, only one child. So his wife is attached, his son is attached. Then he neglected all his wives. So that generally happens also sometimes within the family. Sometimes they may attach to one son or one daughter, and there could be attached to our wife and husband are attached, but they may not be attached to the kids. So it could be, attachment can be in anything, any person, between any two persons, or it could be attached to the any of his opulence, home or his business or his car, cell phone. It could be anything. Different people have different attachment depending on his gnanendriyas, what kind of consciousness he has got from his previous life based on what activity. See, here also Chitraketu was so much attached because he didn't had son for a long time. So he became so much attached. He was feeding and he was doing everything. He was playing, and then with his wife, he was so much spending so much time with Kruta Duty. He neglected all other wives. They were thinking, we are worse than our maid servant. Maid servants at least they are still happy. He was treating, but for us, he's not at all treating. So then they devised a plan to poison. So they devised a plan, all of them together, rest of the queens, they all together devised a plan to kill that child. Imagine, this is the enviousness. This is the greatest disturbance. In each and every stage, this is their enviousness within the family, within the even as a devotees also. As we grow in devotional service, this enviousness also continues. We are envious of other devotees when somebody is more mature, or somebody is doing better service, somebody is doing something good, then we will be envious. This is a natural cause, and so we'll come to that soon, how this attachment and enviousness is coming, even disciples of Ramanujacharya, and how he corrected. So they here King Chitraketu, queens, other queens became envious, and then they poisoned his son. So he fed put the poison in the food, and then finally died. Then immediately understanding what has happened, then immediately they were crying for the duty queen, and then when king heard, then they all came together, and then they were crying and crying, roaring sounds and tears, weeping and lamenting, and becoming unconscious. And then everybody, all his ministers and everybody don't know what to do. That time, then the sage Angira walks in. Then he knows, because especially and Angira this time comes with Narada Muni. Says both are Brahma's sons. Brahma had many sons, so even Narada Muni is also son of Brahma. So both of them comes. Angira brings Narada Muni because he is in the right, proper, correct situations, correct circumstance, time, place, circumstance. So especially King Chitraketu is in. So then Narada Muni came in, then started giving instructions to King Chitraketu. What are you lamenting about? Then he brought the child back, and then he told already before that also. See the water in a river, in an ocean, so many sand particles by the waves, sand particles coming out, coming together and disappearing, dispersing. The different objects are coming in the waves, coming together and they are dispersing. So this life is also like that. Who are your family members in the previous life? Who are your family members in the next life? What are you lamenting about? So this is not a permanent situation. This is a temporary situation. It is not a false. It is a temporary situation. Then in Narada Muni brought the life back, gave a short span to that dead body. He brought the soul back because Narada Muni can do. He has so many powers. Then he asked the soul to speak. Then he spoke. Which father, which mother are you talking about? And I have taken many lifetimes. Sometimes I was a demigod, sometimes I was a tree, sometimes I was a human being, sometimes different species of life. Which mother, father are you talking about? So then King Chitraketu had come to his senses, understood he was, his lamentation was gone. Then Narada Muni has given great instruction. Also, he has given a mantra to purify, to enlighten him further, to engage in transcendental loving service to the Supreme Lord. He has given a specific mantra. I'll mention that. Let me see. A specific mantra, and this is in 6th canto, chapter 16, verse number I forget. There, the mantra I will not describe, but there is a verse beautifully. So, after chanting that mantra for just within 7 days, King Chitraketu, within 7 days, he could attain position of a Vidyadhara. From an ordinary human being as a king, he came to the Vidyadhara planet. We are on the earthly planet, Bhuloka. Then there is a Bhor then there is a Janaloka, Tapaloka, Mahatloka, Satyaloka, Brahmaloka. Topmost is Brahmaloka, 7th planetary system. 14th planet is the topmost. So we are in the 7th planet, then there are 7 planets below us. So the Vidyadhara planets is in between. So the Chitraketu came to that level from Earth within 7 days. And then within few days, the Narada Muni already told, if you follow this mantra specifically as I tell you, as I instruct you exactly, then you are going to attain very quickly. You can see the Lord face to face. You will attain, you will go back to Godhead very quickly. Then same way, so King Chitraketu followed the instruction of Narada Muni, chanted the mantra every day. 7 days he fasted, only took water and he chanted this mantra throughout the day. 7 days he continuously did like that. Then he came, attained Vidyadhara, position of Vidyadhara. He was not looking for material benefits. He was not looking for liberation, or he was not looking for anything, any results. Like I want to become I want to get something. No, he just simply wants pure devotion service. But he has attained that Vidyadhara. Then within few days, he could see the Supreme Lord, especially Lord Sankarshan. The mantra he has given, Narada Muni has given to King Chitraketu, Lord Sankarshan, Lord Anantadev, Lord Balaram's expansion, Lord Sankarshan. The mantra he has given. Then King Chitraketu, within few days after attaining the Vidyadhara position, then he could see the Supreme Lord. He could see face to face Lord Anantadev. Then he explained, he described Lord Anantadev. There's a beautiful verse. Mrunala Gauram Siti Vasasam Sprat Kirita Kayora Katira Kankanam Prasanna Vaktraruna Lochanam Vratam Dadarsha Siddheswara Mandalaihi Prabhum. Upon reaching the shelter of Lord Sesha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Chitraketu saw that he was as the white fibers of a lotus flower. He was dressed in bluish garments and adorned with a brilliantly glittering helmet, armlets, belt, and bangles. His face was smiling, and his eyes were reddish. He was surrounded by such exalted, liberated persons as Sanat Kumara, four Kumaras. Lord Anantadev is always speaking on the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam of Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, unending. It is never ending. Srimad Bhagavatam, what we have is 12 cantos. It is just a some portion of the glories for this Kali Yuga, for this specific earthly planet. It could be unending. So many. Anantadev is speaking even now, but it is not ending. Four Kumaras are always listening. So that's how he could see directly Anantadev in front of him by the following the mantra. So there clearly the next verse is very important for us, where clearly instruction is given to for us. Tad darshana dvasta samasta kilbishai swasta amalatha ankrano abhayan muni pravruddha bhaktya pranayaslochana prahrusta roma anamant adi purusham. As soon as Maharaj Chitraketu saw the Supreme Lord, he was cleansed of all material contamination and situated in his original Krishna consciousness. Being completely purified, he became silent and grave. And because of the love for the Lord, tears fell from his eyes and his hair stood on end. With great devotion and love, he offered his respectful obeisances unto the original personality of Godhead. Here Prabhupada talks about it here, specifically first line. Tad darshana dvasta samasta kilbisha. Kilbisha means sinful activity, samasta. So all the sinful activities, dvasta means destroyed. By simply seeing the Supreme Lord face to face, because of the following the instruction of Narada Muni. So Prabhupada in the purport clearly tells, this is the very important point in this verse. Tad darshana dvasta samasta. If one regularly sees the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the temple, and one will gradually be diminished of all material desire simply by visiting the temple and seeing the deity. When one is freed from all the results of sinful activities, one will be purified with a healthy mind, completely cleansed. He will increasingly make progress in Krishna consciousness. So this is important. So that's why even other place also we see that worshipping the deity is very, very important. Generally, for this age, chanting the holy name of the Lord is the main Yoga Dharma, and that is the foremost and mandatory. Everybody should chant the holy name of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So that Hare Krishna Mahamantra must be chanted. But other than along with that, we must also try to worship the deities like pictures. Pictures also we can, if we are not in a suitable position, we can worship in the mind. We can see the pictures on the phone or computer and then worship them. But gradually we should have at least pictures at home and then worship them. Offer flowers, offer tulsi leaves, even to the pictures we can offer, because this way it is very important. Worshipping deity is very because of the attachment. Otherwise, chanting the holy name itself is sufficient. We don't need to do anything else. But because of our attachment to all the worldly things, how will we transfer our attachment? Just like as I told, if the child is watching computer or TV or playing toys and so many things, how will we? He has to transfer his attachment to something else, higher things. Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehan rasavarjam rasopasya param društva nivartante. He has to develop higher taste. So unless we give some other engagement, active engagement, otherwise how will he transform? So it is not a question of renouncing, a question of stopping things, but rather there should be service which will bring him enlightenment, which will bring joy, happiness by doing that activity and actively engaged. So that's why the chanting is engaging tongue and also hearing, ears and also touch. Tulsi beads we are touching, these three senses are engaged. So that's why out of 5 senses, at least 3 senses are engaged. So we'll be able to control our mind, our senses. It takes time. Mind will be still reeling into some other things because of our many millions of lifetimes we have taken so much chitta, consciousness is filled up with so many things. So that's why it takes. But by constant practice, abhyasa yoga yuktena chetasa nanya gamana. Krishna is telling to Arjuna, practice. Think of me. So mam anusmaradhacha. So mayapita manobuddhi mame vasasamse. You will attain me definitely, but it requires a practice. while fighting, but you should remember me. You should offer everything to me. You are not fighting for you. You are fighting for me, for my pleasure. Then there is no attachment. You are offering results to me. You are doing it for me. Then there is nothing will affect you. Whether it is a result, you don't need to worry about. That I will take care of. So that's what here. That's why Krishna is explaining here. Bhogaiswara prasaktanam taya apahrata chesam. Because our minds are bewildered, we're attached to the bhoga enjoyment. So various types of enjoyment, the opulence, our beauty, our education, our name, fame, strength, everything. All these kinds are still attachment only. Popularity, influence, everything is different types of attachment. So that's why in this specific verse, by transferring our attachment to the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna in the form of deity worship, and then serving physically, doing some devotional service at temple, at home, serving other devotees, serving others, other living entities, whatever fashion, whatever shape and fashion, then gradually it helps us to get purified, transferring, because we are utilizing, transferring our resources, our wealth, our mind, our words, our hands, our body in other service, in deity service, in Lord service, in devotee service, then naturally we are getting purified. Naturally we are getting transferring. There is a two margas, two paths, pravrutti and nivrutti. Pravrutti means prakrushta rupena vritti. Engage, using everything for my own enjoyment. That is called pravrutti. Nivrutti means transferring everything to Krishna's service. Using everything in Krishna's service is called nivrutti marga. That is internal detachment. It's not external renouncement, but actually internal detachment. So that's what we have to come to, but it takes time. It's a constant practice, slowly and gradually. And this is what from King Chitraketu. It is also mentioned in King Chitraketu's case. So even King Chitraketu, after this also, later on King Chitraketu was flying because he is on Vidyadhara planet. In one purport, it's a little bit confusing, where it says he went back to Godhead, but rather he is able to see in Vidyadhara planet. He is there, but he is seeing the Supreme Lord face to face by Narada Muni's power, Narada Muni's mantra, power of mantra, and by following the instruction, he could attain very quickly. Within 10-15 days, he could see the Supreme Lord face to face. But he didn't go back to Godhead yet. He's still in the material world, still in this Vidyadhara, but he could see. Because directly seeing face to face the Lord is nothing but is attained actually. Unless as soon as he saw everything, whatever, even small, any material thing, everything is destroyed. Sarva kilbishay, as it is mentioned in this verse. Tad darsana matra. What is the line? Tad darshana dvasta samasta kilbishay. Dvasta means destroyed, samasta all, kilbishay means sinful activity. Everything is destroyed by just simply associating, directly seeing the Supreme Lord. So there it is mentioned. Later on, King Chitraketu traveling in his aeroplane, Vidyadhara, they can travel. Then he sees Lord Shiva, Lord Parvati Devi in his lap of Lord Shiva, and all the sages Lord Shiva is instructing other sages. By seeing that, Chitraketu laugh loudly at seeing the position of especially Uma, Parvati Devi, wife of Lord Shiva. Then immediately Lord Shiva was not agitated. He was always in peaceful state. Parvati Devi gets upset because he has laughed in front of all by seeing that condition. So then curses, Parvati Devi curses to become a demon. That's how Chitraketu becomes a Vratrasura. But still he didn't lost his devotional service. He didn't become morose. Rather he said, I don't care, I don't matter. Lord Shiva also instructed later on to his wife. Devotees are always in this condition. She was also became surprised that he was not actually, he has a power. Prabhupada explains Chitraketu had so much power, he can retaliate the curse even to Parvati Devi. He can counteract. That much power he has because he became a pure devotee. He could see the Lord face to face. That means you can understand the position or the power of the pure devotee. But rather, he didn't say anything back. He accepted the curse. He said, for me, it doesn't matter. So, as a human being, yes, happiness, distress will come. Sometimes we'll get curse. Sometimes we may get happiness or distress, difficulty. So, this for me, everything is Lord's pleasure. Whatever Lord gives, I accept as it is. So then Lord Shiva quotes Narayana Parasarve Kotaschana Sarga Porga Dware Tulyarda Darsana. The devotee of the Lord, it doesn't matter whether hell or heaven, wherever. He just wants Lord service. It doesn't matter. So Lord Shiva, by that, Parvati Devi could understand, is not ordinary person, is extraordinary devotee. So that's how King Chitraketu became a Vatrasura. Finally, after that, Indra kills Vatrasura, then he went back to Godhead. So there are beautiful prayers Vatrasura offers to the Supreme Lord. Then that is also Vatrasura famous. So where it is mentioned that one who reads early in the morning King Chitraketu's story, this 3 chapters, 6 canto, chapter 15, 16, 17, then he will attain very quickly. It is mentioned 1 minute. Let me read. Where it is mentioned. So he will be able to, by simply reading in the morning, he will be able to go back to Godhead very quickly, within a matter of very short time. Simply reading every day in the morning this King Chitraketu's pastime, because he has attained so quickly and his determination, fixed up determination by following Narada's instruction. But initially he was attached to the Bhoga and Aishwarya as a king. He was attached to his son after that also. But see, by simply transferring that attachment, understanding the transcendental, but there it is mentioned, why did Nagamuni didn't instruct before? Why did Angira didn't instruct him before? There Prabhupada explains he is not in a position to understand. That's why this verse is important. It is telling one who is too much occupied, too much intoxicated with wealth or education or beauty or strength, name, fame, all this popularity, then he is not in a position to accept. He is not in a position to understand transcendental knowledge. He is not in a position to accept. That's why Dhritarashtra, you can see clearly. Last week we were discussing Vedavada Ratapartha, how much he was attached. Daksha also in Bhagavatam class we were discussing about and Dhritarashtra's case. No faith, all his pious credits are gone. He could understand because he was intoxicated by, even though he is blind, materially blind, spiritually, he was intoxicated by his attachment to his sons to get the power. His sons to be in the king position of a king. He was intoxicated by that kind of attachment. But Daksha was attached by this flowery language of Veda, just want to sacrifice. He is thinking, I am Prajapati. Brahma has installed me. I am the great personality. I am the leader of all the living entities. So in that way, he was attached to his position. But what has happened? He fell down, and the Lord Shiva had given him the big lesson. So that's why it is very important. It doesn't matter in each and every level, even though they are at an extraordinary position, but when they have attachment, when they don't understand that everything belongs to the Supreme Lord, otherwise who has given the power? So who has given the power to become, because the Supreme Lord is the one who has given these different positions to living entities. Because we are part and parcel, even the demigods, every one of them. The super soul is there, Paramatma is there in each and every living entity. That means even the demigods also. Without super soul there, they cannot survive. They cannot do any activity. Super soul is guiding. He is there. This is super soul is only there. Paramatma is there only in the material world. Is not in the spiritual world. Because in spiritual world we don't need. Because there we have spiritual body. Everything is spiritual. There is nothing material in that. We don't need. We are already Chetana, fully conscious. We know exactly what to do, how to execute the will of the Supreme Lord. That is fully in Krishna conscious state. So thinking, feeling, willing, executing, everything is as this Krishna desires. That's how it happens in spiritual world. But here in the material world, we are acting as we desire, we like to. We are not following Krishna's instruction as super soul. He is guiding, but we don't want to follow. We are turning away from him. So that is the current position. But gradually, as we come close, as through deity, worshipping the deity, through associating with devotees, chanting the holy name, reading and hearing, slowly and gradually, systematically, then that's why Krishna is also systematically going step by step. First performing duty, karma yoga, then he's going next step. How this attachment causes a great trouble for any position. It doesn't matter. This attachment is only a problem for only low class people, or this attachment is only a problem for king. No, this attachment is a problem for every ladder, every rung of a position of a living entity. So we have to be extremely careful. That's why we put the tilak, that we are constantly has to be thought or thinking about, I am servant, a menial servant of Krishna, menial servant of his devotees. So that is always being reminded. And we see in the example of Ramanujacharya, so he had many disciples. So one time he has a disciple called Dhanur Das. And this is in Sri Rangam. So Lord Ranganatha, very famous temple in Tamil Nadu. So there, so this Dhanur Das as a wife, they were not married actually. So he was attached to this girl. She is coming to the Lord and in service, but somehow there is attached to his beauty and everything. But Ramanujacharya saw the spark of his, as a little spark to engage in the service of the Lord. So then he cultivated that spark and he gave his blessings. Gradually, all his contamination, everything is removed. One day, when he is seeing the Lord Varadaraja, Lord Ranganatha directly, then by Ramanujacharya's mercy, he could see, he could come to that highest perfection. Tears fell down from his eyes and he could see the Lord. He would completely be come to that pure state of consciousness. Then he became so pure by the mercy of Ramanujacharya, by following his instruction. So, then, but he is not in a born in a Brahmana family. He is a category of a Sudra. So, by seeing that these all other Brahmanas, what then Ramanujacharya, what he used to do while he is going to take bath in Kaveri, while coming back, he used to take the hand, he used to take help of Dhanur Das, help to come out from the river and then walk by taking his help, taking his hand. Then seeing this, then these all other disciples thought, why our Guru is doing this? This is improper etiquette, because he is not a Brahmana, he is a low caste born, low birth. And why is he using his help? They are puffed up with this is attachment. As devotees also sometimes we think, this person is not even educated, he looks short, or he is not beautiful, or he doesn't even have qualification. How is he be given this position? How is he engaged in this service? So why are the authorities are engaging in his service or something other? Sometimes spiritual master also may give certain duty or service to a person. It doesn't matter. He's not looking at the external quality, external birth, external appearance. So he knows exactly whom to give, what to give. So Prabhupada engaged so many of his disciples from different births. So many of them are from Philippines, Russia, different countries. The abominable position, many of them came, but by simply coming in touch with a pure devotee, everything gets purified automatically. So they are no more in that contaminated consciousness or condition. So here Dhanur Das became purified, but these other disciples thinking he just came, he was so much attached. So they used to, when the beginning, they used to tell Ramanujacharya, so this person is behaving weirdly. He is coming to temple, but he was attached to this girl. So from that position, he could see. So we also sometimes, because have that, we might be seniors for 15, 20 years, 30 years, we might be practicing. But somebody who has come just now in few years, he became initially he might be attached to so many things, but gradually became a pure devotee. Could be because nobody can tell. My devotion is not based on how long you are there in this process. It is how much you are greedy, how much you are intensely praying, intensely engaging in the consciousnness of Krishna and following the instruction of spiritual master. And so that's all it depends. And so accordingly we progress. So in this case of Dhanur Das, these disciples thought, oh, he just joined, he got so much attachment, he cannot be pure. He came from low birth, he is not even by birth Brahmana. Then so that happens. Ramanujacharya understood what's happening in disciples' mind is not in a stable condition. They are thinking in a wrong way. This can offensive attitude. Then he wanted to correct. Then what he did is when they all slept, then he went and tore all of their clothes which are drying up outside. Tore all their clothes, some portion of their dhotis. he tore apart some portion. And then next day morning, they are all seeing that and then fighting each other. Who has done? You did this, you did that. So they are all fighting with each other. Ramanujacharya came and then stopped them, pacified them. Then they told, then they were thinking this must be done by somebody else. Then Ramanujacharya told one day that they were also constantly complaining about Dhanur Das. Then Ramanuja told, okay, let's understand, let's see what he does. So he told his disciples, I will engage Dhanur Das here, I will be speaking from Vedic scriptures. I will engage him, keeping him busy here in the temple. Then you all go to his home and steal his jewelry and everything, wealth in his home. Let's see what will happen, how he reacts. Dhanur Das, we'll see. So because Ramanujacharya is testing, he want to show his greatness of this devotee. Then all the Ramanas went, and then in the night time, his wife is sleeping. Then his wife, I forget, Hemamba, I think. So she was sleeping. Then they took all his jewelry while sleeping, but she is acting. She was not actually sleeping. She could understand. Oh, then she thought, oh, these Brahmanas, they may not have wealth. They may be very poor. They came to steal. So let them take. Then she didn't say anything. They took all the jewelry one side. Then she thought, okay, let me move to the other side so that they can take the remaining other side also. Then as soon as she moved other side, then they were bewildered, fearful. Oh, she might be waking up. Let us get out. And then they all took that half jewelry on one side, and then they all left. Came to Ramanujacharya and told what has happened. The next day, next then what has happened? They told. Then Dhanur Das. Then they are waiting outside. This is the then Ramanujacharya told, okay, it's too late. You go back. Then Dhanur Das came back home. Then he saw his wife. Hey, what has happened to you? Only half jewelry is there. What did you do with the other half jewelry? Only one side is there. Why is that? Then she told what has happened. Then Dhanur Das scolded her. Hey, you don't have too. You are too much attached, too much illusion, too much attached to the jewelry. Why didn't you give that other when there somebody came, Brahmanas, you are telling, came to steal, then you should have given this. You are too much attached to this wealth, jewelry. I always told you not to be attached. So that's why you couldn't give. So this, you could have given everything. So rather he chastised his wife. Rather he is not thinking, he didn't say that why this has happened. He was not lamenting. Rather he is telling, he chastising his wife. Then all these Brahmanas are staying outside in a outside place, just seeing what's happening. Then they came back next day morning. Then what has happened? Then Ramanujacharya explained. Then they could understand the position of Dhanur Das. They could come to his senses that what is the and how much he was envious of. But Dhanur Das' position is completely devoid of any attachment. He is completely pure. Rather, he is trying to give everything away. He was not attached to anything. Even though he lost his jewelry, his wife's jewelry, but still he chastised his wife. This is the position. He's teaching Ramanujacharya to correct his disciple. He's teaching this lesson, this attachment, the enviousness, the jealousy and enviousness and attachment to the wealth. All this must be transferred to the Supreme Lord. Everything must be utilized in Krishna's service. We must feel that everybody is servant of Krishna. We shouldn't feel that he is junior, he is my senior, or this that. So this kind of position is not important. How to serve others without looking at external positions, male or female body, or senior or junior. How to engage in other service doesn't matter. Somehow or the other, collectively, we must please the Supreme Lord. We must please the spiritual master, our founder Acharya Prabhupada. So then automatically we become purified. A number of examples, this Bhogaiswara Prasaktanam, throughout Srimad Bhagavatam we see so many examples how much those who are attached to various degrees. In Bhagavad Gita we are seeing Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana and Shakuni, Karna at various levels of attachment, how it has caused them to fall down from their position. They had to suffer big time. So that is there. And also in Srimad Bhagavatam we see many examples after example, whether it's Chitraketu's example we just discussed, and many other examples are there. So that's why we have to understand this, and then somehow or the other engage in the Supreme Lord service. That is the best way, other than chanting and hearing and engaging in physical service, serving devotees, brahmanas, and the Lord. Then this way we can purify our life. That is the perfection of our life. So then we will come to the Vyavasayatmika Buddhi. We don't need to renounce and go somewhere or do something special. We just need to transfer that. So we'll stop here. Any questions? Any questions on the Google Meet?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes.
Dhanavad Pranam. Prabhuji, this Chitraketu story, you said in the beginning that he has 1 million wives actually.
Correct. Yes.
So he is still a human, right?
Yes.
But I mean, practically, it's
Yes.
impossible, right, to think like that.
Yes, but he not is not ordinary human. It's an extraordinary human. So generally, kings used to have many wives.
Many wives,
As
yeah.
Muslim kings also, the many wives they used to have. So as per the Muslim rulers, though who ruled India, many of them has to have many wives, and it's not extraordinary to have so many wives. That's what is mentioned. Means I will tell you the specific verse is there.
Okay.
It is not astonishing. Maybe for us, because it's very difficult in Kali Yuga, it is astonishing for us. But this might not be in Kali Yuga. This might be in the previous age. So it is not astonishing either way. So because if somebody has, so what are all this? This is all opulence is coming based on how much pious credit we have done. Like just like a Dhritarashtra has 100 sons. Obviously, only one wife. What's her name? Gandhari. But because he has done so much, so many lifetimes he has to spend to get 100 sons, those many pious credits. Same way, for a person to marry these many wives, he must have some certain extraordinary opulence in his previous life. Then he can have. Otherwise, it is not possible. The strength, the wealth, whatever it needs to marry these many, it's not easy. So that is being given by the Supreme Lord depending on his previous life's activities and his attachment. If he has the same thing like Belomangal Thakur, see, he was also attached to the prostitute. He was attached to the prostitute. Then prostitute told you should give. If you have this attachment, even when it is too much raining, everything is pitch dark. Even in the night, he left everything. It was too much rain. He didn't care. He was so much attached to his prostitute. He left everything, and then he went up throughout the wall. He climbed the wall, jumped from the wall. Then he went through. He caught a snake, and then he jumped through the wall, and then went to the house of prostitute. Then she told, I thought you are not going to come today, and you came the way you came. If you are so much attached to me, then if you transfer this attachment to Krishna, then you can become you can perfect your life. Then by simply hearing that one word, then immediately he understood. Then he came to his senses. He left there and he went, and then he performed his tapasya, austerity. He performed his bhakti yoga. Then gradually he became Belomangal Thakur. So it is based on what activities we do and how much opulence and how we, with what confidence we do. The same opulence, if somebody does so much pious credits, like somebody who's Vrindavan Vasi, especially the cowherd boys, the cowherd girls, or anybody in Vrindavan, especially as a human being, anybody who has performed, who is part of the pastimes of the Supreme Lord when Krishna appeared in Dwaraka in Dwapara Yuga, that they're all performed so much pious credits, lifetime after lifetime, so many pious credits. But their pious credits are not like karma unmukha sukriti. Their pious credits are bhakti unmukha sukriti. So, but the King Chitraketu might have performed Mishtrama Bhakti or Moksha Unmukha Sukriti, so or Karma Unmukha Sukriti. So that's why he is able to he was able to have so much wealth, but same time some defect, some curse, something is there. That's why he didn't had a child. Then so by the blessing of Angirasa, he got a son, but he caused lamentation. But that also was a blessing. So Narada Muni had to instruct. Because of that, Narada Muni came and instructed him. So rather, finally, ultimately, then he attained perfection. He became a pure devotee of the Lord. So that's why. So we have to see in that way.
Okay. Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Yeah. Anyone else?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Gandharvika. Yes.
I have a question.
Loud, loud. Louder.
Chitraketu Maharaj had perfected and he had attained a certain percentage value. And when he was passing, he offended Parvati.
It is getting cut. You may want to text. You may want to put the message in the chat.
Talk loudly. Talk loud. Yeah.
Um, Chitraketu Maharaj had perfected and he was about to go to Viking dad. And then he said something that offended Parvati Devi. But how could he do that? It was very perfect being in Hindu. He could not stand in Parvati Devi.
I'm not able to understand. It is getting cut. So
Hare
much.
Krishna. Can you hear my voice, Prabhuji? Hare
Yes,
Krishna.
yes,
My voice is better. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Dandavat
yes,
pranams.
yes.
Prabhuji, her question is Chitraketu Maharaj became perfected, and then at that stage, how could he like offend Mother Parvati because he was already perfected, and he was seeing like
Yeah.
thinking this. So.
So the King Chitraketu actually didn't offend in any way. He was just because in general, when like especially in such an exalted position of Lord Shiva and his wife Parvati Devi, when they are especially along with if they are in a home or in their own family, then he might not have laughed. So because he's seeing in a public place, Lord Shiva is discussing with sages, instructing, but same time his wife is there on his lap. So by seeing that, King Chitraketu has laughed. So he didn't laugh any means a negative way or anything. He just laughed simply by seeing that. How come concert of Lord Shiva sitting in the assembly, especially not in a private place, in a public place? Why is that so? So then he laughed in that way. Then Parvati Devi, Lord Shiva didn't take it in a negative way. Lord Shiva understood. He was positive. He didn't get affected, but Parvati Devi got affected by that in the assembly. How can a person laugh at me or in front of the others? So then she took it in a negative way and then cursed. So, but that became a blessing also. Indra had learned his lesson. Also, by the power of Chitraketu, became Ratrasura demon, and then finally went back to God. So, in a way, actually, it became a glorification to Chitraketu. Ratrasura, Chitraketu is like Ratra, same person. So that's how it's many other things might be connected with that. Why this incident has happened? It's obviously teaching a lesson how devotee is not getting affected by somebody's curse, and also how to behave as a Vaishnava. That is also indirect lessons are there. So and few other things also might be connected. I will have to look at that specific pastime and see what Sri Prabhupada has given in his purports on that specific verse. I didn't look at in detail, but at least these are some of the considerations we have to think how a devotee or Vaishnava should behave, how to take curse. Like Parikshit Maharaj didn't retaliate, he also received a curse. Sometimes Lord's arrangement, certain things happen. So because Aditi was envious of also she wants to get a son to kill Indra. So many things are there interlinked. So things has to happen in certain way, and sometimes it could be also due to some other curse also. We'll have to see what other things are involved in this case. So that, yeah, that's what I can tell. Is that okay, Gandharvika?
Thank you.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. Anybody else has a question? Let me see in the phone. Hare Krishna, anybody on the phone has a question?
No question, Prabhuji. No question, Prabhu, today.
Understood? Okay.
Hey, hi.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes,
Just a follow up on Gandharvika's question. I was thinking, is it you were saying like how Chitraketu attained like the Vidyadhara planets like that, though he was able to see the Supreme Lord.
yes.
Is that also a reason because like he was not a pure devotee, but in one sense there was something in his heart still, because of which he told like that to Mother Parvati. That's the reason. Next, in the next birth, he became Vidyasra, which was so beneficial because the Lord Himself arranged like that so that he could go back to his supreme spiritual abode instead of just the Vidyadhara planet. So it was like the Lord's arrangement to get him back. He became a demon like that because at that point he was just at the Vidyadhara planet. He had not gone to spiritual world. Could that be the
Yeah.
reason, probably?
No, I don't think so, because the way it explained in this past time of King Chitraketu, within 10 days, when he saw a personality of Godhead face to face, there itself it is already mentioned as went back to Godhead. He attained his pure consciousness because he saw the Supreme Lord face to face. All his contamination has been removed. So that's not the case. In this case specifically, I think to glorify this devotee, to also teach a lesson to others, to also, I think Indra had to be taught a lesson through him. So, and few other things also might be connected. I'll check if any other details are there.
Sure, Prabhuji. Sure. Yeah, the only thing like bothering me is like why he belongs to the spiritual world, why he has gone to Vidyadhara planet, Prabhuji.
So he was not desiring to be. See, this is all connected, as we can see. This past time, the king, especially the Indra's fighting, Indra fighting with Vratasura. Indra was killing, especially Brahman. These things didn't happen on a earthly planet. So all these things, what is going to happen in the future? So incidents, there are connections. Sometimes the devotee immediately may not go back to Godhead. So Prabhupada is a pure devotee, but Acharya has also come down for a specific purpose. So in that way, so the here Chitraketu went to Vidyadhara planet. From there, he is already attained actually pure law of God. Yeah, he could have gone immediately, but there are certain other incidents, certain other pastimes here. So it's all Lord's arrangement. So that's why he's there. Otherwise, it's not. It's not that he didn't become pure. So, but the way it is clearly explained in Srimad Bhagavatam, within 10 days by Narada Muni's instruction, he became pure devotee. It's just a matter of some other pastimes interlinked. So that's why he didn't go back to the spiritual world immediately. So there was a certain time, certain other pastimes connected with it.
Sure, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Prabhuji, I have one more question, Prabhuji.
Yes, Srinivas, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, you said, or as per the Bhagavatam, you said that if we go through the Chitraketu Prabhu's read the story
Yeah,
every day in the morning,
correct.
so you will be directly going back to the Godhead. Correct?
Yes.
So why is it so, Prabhuji? Basically, he is in a different planet, and later he went to the God. But then this will be an easy way to go to Godhead, right?
Yeah, here it is mentioned not only here, like we see in Pruthumara's case also. Anybody who's reading Pruthumara, in few other pastimes also it is mentioned, because it is a natural state. Like especially King Chitraketu is like a king, just like our position. We may not be king, but we are in a similar situation. We might be in a grahastha ashram. So and then for us, it is more of a similar. We can relate to him. We also have certain attachment, like he has. So by following his understanding and reading the pastimes and how he became a pure devotee, by reading that we will also develop that attachment like him. by associating with him, may not be physically, but through Vani, his instruction, then we can attain. So it doesn't mean we have to go like to Vidyadhara planet, then go back to God. It not necessarily. There are generally two ways. Either we go to a planet where Krishna is performing pastime, then we go back to Godhead, or direct, depending on if we have still lingering some few things, we didn't become a pure completely, then we go to planet where Krishna is performing pastimes, then we get purified, then we go back to Godhead. But if we became pure, then we can directly go back to Godhead. So, but by it is not a extraordinary thing, or it is not a unbelievable thing. So, Prithu Maharaj's case, in this pastime, Chitraketu, and few other pastimes, it is clearly mentioned. At the end of Srimad Bhagavatam 12th canto also it is mentioned. Even one word, one line, if somebody reads and perfects, understand and apply that, then he can go back to Godhead. So it's not anything astonishing. That it's a matter of consciousness. It is understanding that one verse, understanding the principle and applying it, getting to that consciousness. Then that's why by reading means we are understanding, oh, this is what consciousness, what defects I have. I can Chitraketu's defects we can see, and then we can also detect, identify, and correct, like how Chitraketu corrected. Then by reading this regularly, then we will understand our position. Gradually, if we correct seriousness, then we can go back. It's all about the seriousness. It is all about the intensity. It is all about the application aspect. Then accordingly to that degree we follow, then it can be a matter of days. That's what Prabhupada told somebody, disciple asked on a morning walk, how to become Krishna conscious? Is it just a desire? It's just a desire. It can be a fraction of a few seconds. Like Katwang Maharaj, he was fighting with so much strength as a king. Then demigods called him to fight against demons in the heavenly planets. Then he fought. His time is up. Then they won. Then I asked for a boon. What boon we can give you? Then Katwang Maharaj asked, how long I have to live? To live in this body, how long I have? Then they told 1 minute. Then immediately thought about the Supreme Lord. Then he went back to Godhead. Just 1 minute. So this is all about the consciousness with which we act. Then it doesn't require so long. It is all because of so much attachment. It is requiring for us to
Struggle like
it's
this.
taking so long for us to come to our grips, come to our senses. So this is the
Yes,
challenge.
Prabhuji. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. With that, we'll stop here. This